Admiral Kate Warren stood at the wide window of her office, looking at the blue curve of Earth below the orbital station. Her reflection showed a woman with short gray hair and tired eyes. She had not slept well for days. "They're voting tomorrow," said Paul Green from behind her. As Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, he brought news that few would hear. "The Vordari have convinced most of the others. The Exile vote will pass." Kate nodded without turning. "And our status?" "Project Noah's Shadow is at 87% completion," Paul said. He placed a data tablet on her desk. "The last colony ships will leave within 3 years. The rest are already gone." For 30 years they had worked in secret. When aliens first contacted Earth in 2087, humans celebrated. They dreamed of joining a peaceful galaxy, sharing knowledge and exploring space together. The reality proved different. The 17 species of the Galactic Council looked at humans with fear and disgust. Too violent, they said. Too ambitious. Too unpredictable. The Council offered to fix humans through genetic changes that would make them more like the other species. Calm, slow to change, content to stay in their place. Earth's leaders refused. Kate had been a young officer then. She remembered the meeting where the plan was born. If the galaxy would not accept humans as they were, humanity would find its own path among the stars. "Show me the latest numbers," Kate said. Paul touched the tablet, and a map appeared in the air between them. Small lights moved away from Earth in all directions. Each light was a ship, carrying thousands of humans in sleep chambers or as awake crews on generation vessels. Some traveled for decades, heading to distant stars outside Council space. 4.2 billion departed, Paul said. Another 800 million ready for the final phase. Earth had once held 9 billion people. Now the great cities stood half empty. Those who remained were either waiting for their turn to leave or had chosen to stay behind. "The Council still suspects nothing?" Kate asked. Paul smiled slightly. "They see what they expect to see. Their sensors look for fast ships using jump technology. Our slow ships with simple engines are invisible to them. They think we're still a one-planet species having internal fights." The trick had been simple but effective. While making public shows of developing faster-than-light technology that failed, Earth secretly perfected long sleep chambers and built thousands of ships with ordinary engines. These ships left Earth using the natural blind spots in the Council's monitoring network. The Council races, with their advanced technology, had forgotten the value of patience. They would never imagine humans willing to spend decades traveling through space at slower speeds, sleeping or living full lives on ships that took generations to reach their destinations. "The new colonies?" Kate asked. 32 established, and growing, Paul said. The oldest ones are already sending their own ships to create daughter colonies. Kate finally turned from the window. At 68, she had given her life to this project. She would not live to see its completion. "I need to address the final group," she said. An hour later, she stood before 500 military officers in a secure underground room. These men and women would command the last ships to leave Earth. "Tomorrow, the Galactic Council will vote to quarantine Earth for 500 years, she told them. "They believe this will contain us, limit our development, and eventually force us to accept their control." She stepped away from the podium and spoke plainly. "They are too late. While they talked, we acted. While they debated, we built. While they worried about what we might become, we quietly became something else entirely." The room was silent. These officers knew the stakes. Many were leaving families behind who would follow on civilian ships. "The final phase begins now," Kate continued. "The Council will send ships to enforce the quarantine. When they arrive, they must find exactly what they expect: a contained planet accepting its punishment." A young captain raised his hand. "And those who stay behind?" T nodded at the question. 300 million volunteers will remain on Earth. They will maintain our cities and infrastructure. They will be our memory keepers, and when the time comes, they or their descendants will welcome the return." After the meeting, Kate met with Paul one last time. His diplomatic ship would leave for the Council meeting that night. "Play your part well," she told him. Show anger, then acceptance. Make them believe we are defeated. Paul had aged during his years of smiling at aliens who despised humanity. And after? Come home, she said. The Montana colony ship leaves in 6 months. Your family will be waiting. That night, Kate watched Paul's ship depart for Council space. Soon after, without ceremony, 5 more massive colony vessels slipped away from Earth's dark side, using the moon to hide their departure from distant observers. In her private quarters, Kate opened a small box containing a data crystal. It held the coordinates of every human colony and ship. Only 5 people had a complete copy. She would carry hers to New Anchorage, the colony orbiting a star 40 light-years from Earth. On her desk sat a message from her grandson, already 10 years into his journey aboard the ship Horizon. Thanks to the time distortion of space travel, he was now older than she was. The message had taken years to reach her. "We've found a good world, Grandma," he had written. "Green hills and blue oceans. We're calling it Nova Terra. There's room for many more. We'll keep the light on for you." Kate looked once more at the blue planet below. Earth had been humanity's cradle, but the time had come to leave it behind. Not in defeat, but in the greatest adventure ever undertaken by the human race. The Council had chosen to exile Earth, but humanity had already left. Paul Green adjusted his plain gray suit as he waited outside the Great Council chamber. Unlike the colorful robes worn by alien representatives, human clothing appeared dull and simple. This was by design. Over the years, Paul had learned to use the Council's low expectations to his advantage. The massive doors slid open. Paul walked into a vast circular room with tiered seating that rose up like a bowl turned inside out. Each tier held representatives from a different species. Some looked almost human, while others resembled nothing on Earth. All 17 council races watched him enter. At the center stood a single platform. Paul walked to it and stood alone. High Speaker Zoran of the Vordari stepped forward on the highest tier. The Vordari were tall, thin beings with pale blue skin, and 3 sets of eyes arranged vertically on their faces. As the oldest spacefaring race, they led the council. "The council has reached its decision regarding Earth," Zoran announced. His voice was soft, but carried throughout the chamber. "Ambassador Green, are you prepared to receive our judgment?" Paul nodded. "I'm ready." Zoran unfolded a document that shimmered with embedded data. After careful review of humanity's development and behavior since first contact, we have determined that your species presents an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. The room remained silent. This was not news. The debate had lasted for years, but the outcome had never been in doubt. "Earth shall be placed under full quarantine," Zoran continued. "For a period of no less than 500 standard years, no human vessel will be permitted beyond your solar system. No council ship shall trade with Earth. All communication networks will be severed. No technology transfer will be allowed." Paul kept his face neutral, though he noticed several representatives shifting uncomfortably. Not all council races supported the harsh sentence. "This is not a punishment," Zoran said, as if reading Paul's thoughts. "It is protection. Your species developed too quickly. You advanced from primitive flight to space travel in less than a century. Such rapid advancement leads to instability." A representative from the Merithian Collective, a race of insect-like beings, stepped forward. "We have prepared a list of genetic modifications that would make humans eligible for earlier readmission to galactic society. These changes would reduce aggressive tendencies and slow your reproductive rate." Paul had heard this offer before. "And change what makes us human." "What makes you dangerous," corrected Zoran. "Your kind fights wars over ideas. You take risks that threaten your own survival. You refuse to accept the natural order." Several council members nodded in agreement. The Vordari, having achieved space travel nearly 10,000 years ago, believed that proper development should be slow and careful. Humanity's rapid advancement frightened them. "The Council has observed 73 armed conflicts on your world since first contact," said another representative, a floating creature made of gas contained in a transparent suit. "Your entertainment glorifies violence. Your children play games about conquest. Paul waited as each species listed humanity's flaws. They spoke of human unpredictability, emotional decision-making, and biological aggression, their term for humans' ability to adapt quickly to new environments. When they finished, silence filled the chamber. All eyes turned to Paul, expecting protest or anger. He straightened his shoulders. "The people of Earth accept your decision." A murmur of surprise rippled through the council. They had expected arguments or pleas for leniency. "We understand your concerns," Paul continued calmly. "While we disagree with your assessment, we respect the Council's authority in this matter. Earth will comply with the quarantine terms." Zoran's middle eyes narrowed. "You accept our judgment without protest?" "Yes," Paul said simply. 500 years is not so long in the development of a species. We will use this time for reflection and growth." The council members exchanged glances. Human acceptance was unexpected. Some representatives seemed relieved, while others appeared suspicious. "The quarantine begins immediately," Zoran declared. "You will be provided transport back to Earth. After that, Council enforcement vessels will establish the boundary at the edge of your solar system." Paul bowed slightly. "I understand. May I address the Council one final time before I leave?" Zoran hesitated, then nodded. "Despite our differences, humanity values the knowledge we have gained from our brief time among the stars," Paul said. "We hope that when the quarantine ends, we will rejoin galactic society as friends." With nothing more to say, Paul turned and walked from the chamber. Behind him, the council erupted in discussion, but he did not look back. On the transport ship, returning to Earth, Paul sat alone in his quarters. He activated a small device that scanned for listening technology. When he confirmed the room was secure, he opened a hidden compartment in his luggage. Inside was a quantum communicator, a device that allowed instant contact across any distance. It was connected to a matching unit in Admiral Warren's office. Such technology was beyond what the Council believed humans possessed. "The sentence is confirmed," Paul reported. 500 years of quarantine. No modifications to the plan. Kate's voice came through clearly. "Did they suspect anything?" "No," Paul replied. "They believe we're trapped and defeated. The enforcement fleet launches in 2 weeks." "Good," Kate said. "The final colony ships leave tomorrow. The Montana vessel is ready for you." Paul looked out the small window at the stars. "Any word from the outer colonies?" "Novaterra reports successful settlement. The first children have been born there. Horizon Colony has begun terraforming their world. 14 more ships have reached their destinations." For the first time in years, Paul allowed himself to smile. The Council thought they were punishing humanity, forcing them to stay on one world when humans had already claimed dozens. "What about those staying behind?" he asked. "They're prepared," Kate assured him. 300 million volunteers spread across the major cities, enough to maintain the appearance of a functioning civilization while hiding how many have truly left. "The automated systems are in place. When the Council ships arrive, they'll see exactly what we want them to see." Paul ended the transmission and destroyed the communicator. His part in this great deception was nearly complete. Soon he would join the Exodus, leaving Earth to begin a new life beyond the Council's reach. Outside his window, the stars continued, their silent watch. Somewhere out there, humanity was taking root on new worlds, growing in ways the Council could never imagine or control. The irony wasn't lost on Paul. In trying to contain humanity, the Council had scattered them across the galaxy. 5 years passed since the Council's judgment. Commander Ella Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Guardian, the last military vessel permitted in Earth orbit. Through the main view screen, she watched as 6 Council ships approached. "They're right on schedule," said her first officer, Lieutenant Alan Patel. Ella nodded. At 39, she was young to command such an important mission. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and she wore the formal blue uniform of Earth's Space Force. "Open a channel," she ordered. The screen changed to show the face of a Vordari commander. Like all his kind, he had blue skin and 3 sets of eyes. "This is Fleet Inspector Zarn of the Galactic Council," the alien said. We are here to conduct the 5-year inspection of quarantine compliance. Ella kept her expression neutral. Welcome, Inspector. I am Commander Morrison of Earth Defense. We expected your arrival. Your vessel is to be decommissioned as per the quarantine agreement, Zarn said. No military ships will be permitted after today. We understand, Ella replied. My crew is prepared to surrender our ship and return to Earth. The inspector studied her with his middle set of eyes. Prepare for boarding. We will begin our inspection immediately. The council team arrived an hour later. Besides the Vordari, there were representatives from 3 other species. They moved through the Guardian with scanning devices, checking for prohibited technology. Ella escorted Zarn personally. You'll find everything in order, Inspector. We shall see, he replied coldly. Your kind has a reputation for creativity. As they walked, Zarn asked questions about Earth's condition. Ella answered honestly but carefully. Your population reports show unusual patterns, Zarn noted, examining a data tablet. 5 years ago, Earth reported 9 billion humans. Now, you report only 2.7 billion. Explain. Ella had been prepared for this question. A combination of factors: declining birth rates after first contact. The Council's decision led to widespread societal changes. Many chose not to have children. Zarn's upper eyes narrowed. Such a dramatic decrease is concerning. We're adapting to our new reality, Ella said simply. The inspection of the Guardian finished without incident. The Council team found nothing out of compliance. Next came the more extensive survey of Earth itself. Ella joined the inspectors on their shuttle down to the surface. They landed first in what had once been New York City. The massive towers still stood, but the streets below were noticeably empty. Automated cleaning drones moved silently along the sidewalks. Only a few humans walked between buildings. Where is everyone? Asked a Merithian inspector, her antennae twitching. Most people moved to smaller communities, Ella explained. The large cities became expensive to maintain with fewer resources. They visited 4 more major cities. Each showed the same pattern: impressive infrastructure but sparse population. In London, the council team requested random home inspections. They found clean, orderly apartments with basic possessions. Everything appeared normal, just with fewer people. Zarn grew increasingly suspicious as the inspection continued. In Beijing, he stopped at a busy market to question an elderly man selling vegetables. Are you satisfied with your life under quarantine? The inspector asked. The old man smiled. Why would I not be? I have my garden, my customers, my grandchildren. The sky is blue. The earth still turns. Zarn seemed frustrated by the calm acceptance he encountered everywhere. No protests, no anger, just quiet adjustment to isolation. On the 3rd day, the inspection team met with Earth's governing council. 5 human leaders sat across from the aliens in a simple meeting room. Our reports show your power consumption has decreased by 63%, Zarn stated. Your orbital activity is minimal. Major industries have scaled back operations, yet we see no signs of collapse or unrest. The head of the Earth Council, a woman named Susan Lee, folded her hands on the table. We chose adaptation over resistance. The Council's decision forced us to become more self-sufficient, more efficient. Zarn set down his tablet firmly. I believe you are hiding something. The room grew quiet. Susan met his triple gaze steadily. What exactly do you think we're hiding, Inspector? Your population numbers don't make sense, he said. Even with decreased birth rates, you could not have lost over 6 billion people in 5 years without mass casualties. Where are they? Ella tensed, but Susan remained calm. They're gone, Susan said simply. The council representatives stared at her in confusion. What do you mean, gone? Demanded Zarn. Susan gestured toward the window where the blue sky stretched overhead. They left. Not all at once and not recently. They've been leaving for decades. The Merithian inspector clicked her mandibles nervously. Impossible. Our monitoring network would have detected launches. Your network watches for energy signatures from standard drives, Susan explained. We used simple chemical rockets and ion engines. Slow, steady launches over 30 years. Your people never noticed because you weren't looking for something so primitive. Zarn stood abruptly. You expect us to believe billions of humans simply flew away in slow ships? To where? To everywhere, Susan said. To stars beyond council space. To systems you considered worthless. To places you never bothered to claim. Ella watched as understanding dawned on the aliens' faces. The council had believed they were containing humanity on one world. Instead, they had merely quarantined an empty nest after the birds had flown. This is a violation of galactic law, Zarn sputtered. No, Susan corrected him. Your quarantine stated that no human could leave Earth after the judgment. You never said anything about those who had already left. The council team departed in Taiduanis disarray. Ella watched their ships break orbit, racing back to deliver the alarming news. That evening, she stood on the roof of the government building with Susan, watching the sunset. What happens now? Ella asked. Susan smiled. They'll search, of course, they'll look for our colonies, but space is vast, and we've had a good head start. And those of us who stayed behind? We keep Earth alive, Susan said. We maintain our home, and we wait for the day our children's children come back to us. Above them, the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. Somewhere among them, humanity was taking root on new worlds, hidden from the Council's sight. The news of Earth's secret exodus spread through Council space like wildfire. In the Grand Council chamber, the representatives of 17 species argued loudly about what to do next. Find them. Find every human colony and bring them under control, demanded the Vordari High Speaker Zoran. The vastness of space makes that impossible, argued a Merithian representative. They could be anywhere beyond our borders. Then we must expand our search range, insisted another council member. Within days, the council launched over 200 search vessels. They spread out from Earth, scanning every nearby star system for signs of human settlement. Far from this, chaos on a planet orbiting a yellow star 40 light-years from Earth. Adam Bell wiped sweat from his forehead as he adjusted a water recycling system. At 32, he had lived on Nova Terra for 7 years. The colony was home to nearly 100,000 humans now, with more arriving each year as sleeper ships reached their destination. How's it looking? Asked Ben Harper, the colony's chief engineer. Almost there, Adam replied, tightening one last connection. This should increase our water efficiency by 20%. They stood inside a large dome that protected the colony's main water processing facility. Outside, the landscape of Nova Terra stretched away, rolling hills covered with a mix of earth plants and native purple vegetation. The sky was a deeper blue than Earth's, and the sun appeared slightly larger. Engineering team, report to the command center immediately, came a voice over their communication devices. Adam and Ben exchanged worried glances. Such urgent calls were rare. 10 minutes later, they joined 24 other colony leaders in the YI command center, a simple building at the heart of the settlement. Colony Governor Diane Carter stood before them, her face grave. Our long-range sensors detected 3 council vessels entering this system, she announced. They will reach orbit in approximately 14 hours. The room erupted in concerned murmurs. Everyone knew what was at stake. The council had never approved human expansion beyond Earth. If they discovered Nova Terra, they might try to remove the colony by force. We've prepared for this day, Diane reminded them. Operation Blackout begins now. Adam and the other engineers moved quickly. For years they had developed and refined technologies to hide their presence. Now it was time to use them. First, they shut down all power systems that might be detected from orbit. The colony switched to geothermal energy drawn from deep underground, with heavily shielded equipment that produced no electromagnetic signature. Next, they activated camouflage coverings over all structures. These special materials mimicked the surrounding landscape when viewed from above. The domes disappeared under images of hills and vegetation. Streets vanished beneath what looked like natural waterways or rock formations. While the engineers worked, other colonists moved all vehicles into underground garages. Farmers herded livestock into concealed barns. Children were brought into central shelters designed to block life sign readings. Adam's team worked through the night, checking and rechecking their concealment systems. By dawn, the once visible colony had seemingly melted into the landscape. "Now we wait," said Diane, as the colony leaders gathered in the underground command center. Above them, the council ships entered orbit around Nova Terra. On their scanners, the planet appeared to have a thriving ecosystem, but no signs of intelligent life. No artificial structures, no power emissions, no communication signals. Inside the lead council vessel, a Vordari commander named Kelth studied the readings carefully. "The planet has an oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere," he noted. "Vegetation covers 60% of the land mass. Water is abundant." "Any signs of human presence?" asked his second-in-command. "Nothing conclusive," Kelth replied. "Some of the plant life matches Earth patterns, but that could be coincidence." "Should we send down survey teams?" Kelth considered this option. His orders were to identify human settlements, not to examine every potentially habitable world. "Our scanners show no artificial structures or energy signatures," he decided. "We have 18 more systems to check in this sector alone. We'll mark this planet for future investigation and continue our search." Unknown to the Vordari, 20 meters below the surface, Adam and 5,000 colonists held their breath as they watched the council ships on their monitoring systems. "They're leaving," announced Diane after several tense hours. "Sensors show they're moving to the edge of the system." A collective sigh of relief filled the command center. Their deception had worked. The council ships had failed to detect the carefully hidden colony. Once the alien vessels were gone, the colony slowly returned to normal operation. As people emerged from the underground shelters, Adam stood with Ben and watched the colonists return to their daily lives. "Do you think they'll come back?" Ben asked. "Eventually," Adam said, "but next time we'll be even better hidden." He looked up at the sky, thinking about the other human colonies scattered across distant stars. Humanity had split into dozens of separate settlements, each developing in its own way. Some focused on agriculture, others on technology. Some built underwater cities, while others carved homes into mountains. The quantum communication network, hidden from council detection, allowed these scattered colonies to share information and warnings. When the council ships appeared near Nova Terra, a signal had already gone out to every human settlement. That evening, Adam attended a meeting with Governor Diane and the colony's leadership council. "The council will expand their search," Diane told them. "According to our latest intelligence from Earth, they're sending ships to more distant sectors." "But they won't find most of us," said Lisa Kent, the colony's chief scientist. "We specifically chose stars they considered uninteresting, planets they had surveyed once and dismissed." "And the quantum network?" Adam asked. "Still secure," Lisa assured him. "They have no way to detect the entangled particles we use for communication." The human colonies had another advantage: time. While council species lived for centuries and saw little need for rapid progress, humans continued to innovate quickly. Each year, the colonies developed better concealment technology, more efficient power systems, and improved self-sufficiency. "We need to prepare for the long game," Diane said. "The council will search for decades. We must remain hidden until we're strong enough to reveal ourselves on our own terms." Adam nodded. "And Earth? The people who stayed behind?" "They continue to play their part," Diane said quietly, "acting as if they are all that remains of humanity, drawing the council's attention while we grow stronger." Outside the meeting room window, the first stars appeared in Nova Terra's darkening sky. Adam thought about how far humanity had come, from a single world to dozens of hidden colonies. The council had tried to contain them, to force them into a predetermined path. Instead, they had inadvertently scattered humans among the stars, creating something far more difficult to control. "They thought they were exiling us," Adam said, "but we were never really there to exile. 100 years passed since the council sentenced Earth to exile. In that century, much had changed in galactic politics. The once mighty Vordari hegemony had split into 3 competing factions. Resource wars broke out between former allies. The council still existed, but its power had weakened considerably. On the Grand Council station, representatives from 15 species gathered for their annual assembly. 2 races had withdrawn from the council during recent conflicts. The Grand Chamber felt emptier than before. Acting High Speaker Marath of the Vordari Eastern Alliance called the session to order. Before we address the agenda, there is an unexpected matter. A ship of unknown design has requested permission to dock at this station. They claim to represent humanity. Confused murmurs filled the chamber. Earth's quarantine still had 400 years remaining. No human vessel should be able to reach council space. "Display the vessel," ordered Marath. A hologram appeared above the central platform. The ship was unlike anything the council had seen before. Sleek and silver, it resembled a water droplet stretched into an elegant teardrop. No visible engines or weapons marred its smooth surface. Scans indicate advanced technology beyond our current understanding, reported a council security officer. Power signature is minimal, yet the vessel traveled faster than our fastest ships. Marath considered the situation. Allow the ship to dock. Security teams will escort any visitors directly to this chamber. 30 minutes later, the chamber doors opened. A tall human male with dark skin and short gray hair entered, escorted by 6 council guards. He wore a simple blue uniform with a small silver pin shaped like Earth on his collar. "I am Christopher Hayes, Ambassador of the United Human Systems," he announced as he reached the central platform. His voice was strong and carried throughout the chamber. "Earth is under quarantine," Marath stated coldly. "Your presence here violates council law." Christopher smiled slightly. "I do not come from Earth. I was born on Nova Terra, a world 40 light years from Earth. The United Human Systems include 67 colony worlds beyond council space." Stunned silence filled the chamber. Even a century later, the council had located only 12 human colonies, and those were long abandoned by the time they were discovered. 67 worlds? Asked a Merithian representative, her voice tinged with disbelief. "Yes," Christopher confirmed. "Our ancestors left Earth before the exile was pronounced. In the century since, we have established thriving societies on worlds the Council overlooked. We have developed in ways we might not have if confined to a single planet under your supervision." "Why reveal yourselves now?" demanded Marath. "You could have remained hidden." Christopher gestured toward the chamber at large. "Because the galaxy is changing. The balance of power has shifted. Old alliances have fractured. We believe it is time for humanity to rejoin galactic society, not as subjects but as equals." He removed a small device from his pocket and placed it on the floor. It projected a holographic display showing various technologies: medical, equipment, energy systems, agricultural methods, and more. "These are some of our innovations," Christopher explained. "Medical procedures that can extend council species' lifespans by 30%. Clean energy systems that produce no harmful byproducts. Farming methods that can grow food on worlds you considered barren." The council representatives leaned forward, unable to hide their interest. "Over the past century," Christopher continued, "we've observed the struggles facing the council: resource shortages, environmental collapse on key worlds, political divisions. We offer our assistance in addressing these challenges." "In exchange for what?" asked Marath suspiciously. "3 things," Christopher replied. "First, recognition of the United Human Systems as an independent entity with sovereign rights to our colony worlds. Second, the immediate end of Earth's quarantine. Third, a new relationship between humanity and the Council based on mutual respect and cooperation." A tele-representative, a small being with 4 arms, spoke up. "Why should we trust humans? Your kind deceived us once already." "We deceived you only after you chose to exile us," Christopher corrected gently. "You feared our potential and tried to contain it. In doing so, you scattered us among the stars where we flourished beyond your sight." He walked around the central platform, addressing each section of the chamber. "Think of what we might achieve together, instead of in opposition. The council races have thousands of years of knowledge and tradition. Humans bring innovation and adaptability. Together we could solve problems neither could address alone. The council debated for hours. Some representatives argued against trusting humans. Others saw the potential benefits of the offered technologies. Eventually, Mirath called for a preliminary vote. By a narrow margin, the council agreed to consider Christopher's proposal. "We will need time to verify your claims," Mirath told him. "A delegation will visit your colonies. We must see these innovations for ourselves." Christopher nodded. "We welcome your delegation. In the meantime, I am authorized to provide technical specifications for our basic medical advances as a gesture of good faith." As the formal session ended, Christopher was approached by an elderly Vordari, one of the few remaining members of the original council that had exiled Earth. "I remember when we thought we were containing your species," the old Vordari said quietly. "We believed ourselves wise and far-seeing. Instead, we forced humanity to evolve faster, to become more resilient and innovative than you might have been under our guidance." "Perhaps it was for the best," Christopher suggested. "On our own, we had to succeed or perish. There was no safety net, no established path to follow. Every colony developed unique solutions to survival." Later, as Christopher returned to his ship, he sent a quantum message to the Human Leadership Council, representing all 67 colonies. "First contact established. Initial reception cautious but interested. Phase 1 complete." Back on Nova Terra, Adam Bell sat in a garden outside his home. Now an old man of 132, his life had been extended by the medical advances developed in the colonies. He watched his great-grandchildren play nearby as he read Christopher's message on a small screen. Adam remembered the early days on Nova Terra, the struggle to build a self-sustaining colony, the fear of discovery, the hard work of creating a new home. Those difficult years had forged a new kind of human society, one that valued cooperation, innovation, and careful planning. He thought about Earth, still under council watch, but soon to be reunited with its scattered children. The people who had stayed behind had kept humanity's original home alive, waiting patiently for this day. The council had chosen to exile Earth, believing they were containing a dangerous species. Instead, they had inadvertently created something far more powerful, humanity unlimited, developing freely across dozens of worlds. Adam smiled as he looked up at the purple-tinged sky of his adopted world. The stars were coming out, and somewhere, among them, a new chapter in human history was beginning. Not as a quarantined species, but as an equal partner in the galaxy's future. The exile had ended. Humanity was coming home, transformed, strengthened, and ready to take its place among the stars.